Welcome back to Bar 355. I'm your host, Eddie Muller, and today Noir Alley ushers in Noirvember with another in a run of fairly obscure movies, some of which fit snugly in the noir tradition, some of which are outliers, even if they're all crime stories. Today's offering is The Great Jewel Robber, released by Warner Brothers in 1950. David Bryan plays the title role, which is based on an actual criminal whose exploits were very much in the news at this time, especially in the tonier parts of Beverly Hills, where our title character perfected his trade, relieving rich people of their jewels. True crime stories were a specialty of the film's producer, Brian Foy. He'd started in show business as one of the Seven Little Foys, a popular vaudeville act concocted by his father, comedian Eddie Foy. Briny, as he was known, quit performing to work behind the scenes in Hollywood, and since the mid-20s, he'd carved out a niche for himself as a shrewd and savvy producer of B product. He was so adept at it, he was made head of the B unit at several studios, Warner Brothers, 20th Century Fox, and Eagle Lion Pictures, the latter being all B product. That's where in the late 40s he oversaw the creation of several significant noir films. Foy was especially keen on true crime tales, which made him something of a renegade for the movie business. For years, there had been an agreement among the studios to steer clear of real-life crime stories so as not to be accused of glorifying outlaw behavior. That's why the public never saw biopics about legendary crooks like Al Capone and John Dillinger. Foy was the first to break that unwritten rule with the 1944 Fox film Roger Toohey Gangster, about a rival of Capone's who staged a daring escape from Joliet prison. The film stirred up lots of controversy, including a lawsuit from its recaptured subject, undermining any chance for the picture's success. But that didn't deter the indefatigable Mr. Foy. Moving to Eagle Lion, he produced He Walked by Night and Canyon City, both released in 1948, and both pitched to the public as being ripped from today's headlines. For this film, he didn't need to look far for inspiration. At the same time, Foy was producing the films I just mentioned, in a silent partnership with Chicago gangster Johnny Rosselli, a charming and sophisticated bounder named Gerard Graham Dennis was plying his trade in the movie colony, ingratiating himself to the well-heeled gentry, then stealing their precious jewels. Dennis was a real-world version of Cary Grant in To Catch a Thief, and almost as good-looking. Among his victims were Loretta Young, Errol Flynn, Joan Crawford, Dennis Morgan, and Alexis Smith, as well as less photogenic targets. His exploits earned him the nickname the Raffles of Beverly Hills, A.J. Raffles being the gentleman thief of popular fictions created by E.W. Horning, Arthur Conan Doyle's brother-in-law. Raffles was a larcenous doppelganger to Doyle's super sleuth, Sherlock Holmes. By the time the law caught up with Gerard Graham Dennis, Foy was poised to pounce all over the story. To adapt it, he hired Borden Chase, a writer with his own connection to a notorious criminal. Back when he was known simply as Frank Fowler, Chase was the chauffeur of gangster Frankie Yale, New York-based rival to Al Capone. The one time Yale opted to drive himself, he was murdered in his fancy Lincoln by gunmen right on 10th Avenue. Frank Fowler decided to take up a safer career, signing on as one of the hundreds of guys digging the Holland Tunnel that runs beneath the Hudson River. He wrote a novel based on those experiences called Sandhog, which was Fowler's ticket to Hollywood. It was made by Fox in 1935 as Under Pressure, directed by Raoul Walsh. Under his new name, Borden Chase, which Fowler got by combining the milk company with the Manhattan Bank, he became a freelance screenwriter. His work included several classic westerns, Red River, Winchester 73, Bend of the River, and Veracruz. He's also the father, at least in name, of noted actress and dancer Barry Chase. In the title role is Warner's contract player David Bryan, who'd arrived in Hollywood only a year earlier, after being discovered by Joan Crawford. She cast him as her caddish co-star in his movie debut, Flamingo Road, and again in The Damned Don't Cry. Okay, there's not much of a body count in today's film, but there are plenty of hot jewels, double-crossed dames, and bitter, broken hearts. Here is The Great Jewel Robber.